Welcome to episode 57 of the Champagne Comedy Podcast, where we talk about the best Australian comedy show from the 90s ever made, Frontline, and other D-Generation comedy tidbits. My name is Matt, and joining this podcast today is Alison, Daniel, and Kim.
Hey!
How are we all?
Yeah, pretty well.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Well, I noticed that there's someone who's in a new location to record this today, which is kind of appropriate given the title sequence of this episode.
But
we'll get to that.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, I'm in the same old recording spot myself, with some sort of karaoke party happening. Hopefully not bleeding into the background, but they were butchering Bohemian Rhapsody before, so if I start singing along, you'll tell me, right?
We'll go over there and ask them to put on something that would be the end of the Late Show, like a musical mashup or
I think,
or maybe your mashup of the Frontline theme and Working Class Man.
No. So, Alison, you're the one who's hunky-dory.
Unless the bus goes past, that they can sometimes be quite loud. But yeah, I'm thinking that Daniel's neighbour's party, I think, should do a few sort of 1995 bangers, maybe a bit of Out There Brothers, a bit of Simply Red. You know, there's some amazing music happening. Let's hear it, guys.
I have some listener feedback, and it's in regards to the last couple of episodes of this season and a little bit of last season as well. Regular contributor to the podcast, Peter Phoebe, who has been awesome and sent through a couple of articles of Frontline, which we've been posting on our social media accounts on Champagne Comedy. He has written here, I've been catching up on the last 3 to 4 shows over the last week. He tends to give the episodes a rewatch as he's listening. So top stuff. That's what this podcast is about. And in season 1 episode review of Frontline, someone was talking about stew and apple pie references. And I think that might have been Prue who mentioned that. Going by memory.
What was the reference? I can't remember.
Oh, it's just more or less hey, anyone want to go for an apple pie? Or it's just a Macca's apple pie.
Right.
I do remember a couple of scenes where...
Stu always seems to want one.
In episode 1 of season 2 of Frontline, Stu references wanting to get some apple pie just after a team meeting as he and Jace has had to rush out the door to do some work, which is about 6 minutes into the episode. Anyway, continue to do the fine work that you guys are doing. So thank you very much, Peter. And yes, I do remember that apple pie reference in that episode. And, well, let's just say because Prue wasn't on board, we didn't get to call it out.
We have a nice character note for Stu, though. He's a bit obsessed with that molten lava apple filling.
Burn the roof of your mouth.
Yeah. Some people like chili. Some people want their mouths burnt.
But yeah, it's true. We should have kept a counter of these things. Considering how fastidious we've been looking at for appearances of everybody's favourite photocopier repairman. I was about to say Kevin Conacher, but that's not his name. Damn it.
Colin.
But then again...
Shoot.
Well, there's plenty for Conacher fans this episode.
Oh, I don't know. It was copier overload for me.
There's a very easy find in this episode.
We'll set the toner for that.
Nah.
Okay, so a few weeks ago, 7 West Media, the company that owns Channel 7, as well as the West Australian newspaper, have launched a nightly digital newspaper called, funnily enough, The Nightly. And sort of, if you've had a look at any of the issues, you might sort of notice sort of where they're coming from, because there's a lot of ads for Channel 7 and Sunrise and 7 Plus, and a lot of mining advertisements as well. So, you see Woodside and BHP and another sort of industry one saying how good the mining industry is for jobs. despite it being absolutely fucked for everything else, to be honest.
They're kind of sitting on the fence, are they?
Well, it doesn't seem like it. There's word that the Nightly has been set up to sort of have a bit of political influence in the East, as the West Australian does in the West. One thing I like very much about the Nightly is the culture section, which is edited by Wenli Ma, film reviewer. She used to be on news.com.au, and I quite liked her reviews there. Second only, of course, to Champagne Comedy Podcast's very own Tony. In the first week of the Nightly's existence, she went through a top 50 list of Australian actors, and for the second week, she did the top 50 Australian movies. And it turns out that one of the movies in that top 50 is The Castle.
Is any questions for Ben in there?
Sadly not.
How about The Dish? I mean, The Dish was actually quite good.
That came in at number 51.
That missed out too. I thought we might make a bit of a game of these things, and just considering, I don't suppose any of you read The Nightly, did you?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I think I saw a link to it somewhere, but I clicked on it once and saw all those mining ads and didn't read the content.
or seeing all those not so subtle news stories about it on 7 News. I'm going to ask each of you where you reckon it ranked in the top 50. I might start with you, Kim.
Number 7.
You reckon it was number 7?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just writing your name into the just so I've got you down for number 7. Alison, where do you reckon it ranked?
Number 2.
Oh, that's quite high.
Mm.
Okay, and Matt, where do you reckon it ranked?
I was going to say number 2, but because you already got first dibs on it, I'll say number 3. And I am sure that at least Crocodile Dundee will be either 2 or 1. That's why they're pushing The Castle down to, say, number 3.
Kim, at number 7, we had Gallipoli.
Ah.
Now, Alison, at number 2, we had Breaker Morant.
Breaker Morant's a very good film.
And Matt, your number 3 was Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Okay. So with that out of the way, I can tell you that The Castle ranked number 14 on the list.
Wow.
Baffling.
Exactly. Baffling.
Yeah.
So, okay, what's in the top 10?
Going from 10 to 1. So number 10 is 1979's My Brilliant Career. Number 9 is Muriel's Wedding. Number 8, Looking for Alibrandi. Number 7, Gallipoli. Number 6, Mad Max Fury Road. Then number 5, Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Yep, that's a good movie.
Yep. Number 4, Lantana. Then Animal Kingdom at number 3, Breaking Morant at number 2. And number 1, I would say, I'm not quite sure if you would call it a cult thriller.
I was going to say, is it Housemate Horror?
Wake in Fright? Is it Wake in Fright?
Yeah, it's Wake in Fright.
Wake in Fright. Well,
yeah.
Wake in Fright's a very good film as well.
Is it a popular movie though?
It's a cult sort of thing, isn't it? Wake in Fright.
It seemed to sort of, I would say, sort of come out of existence and then sort of come back in again with the video and DVD revolution, I reckon.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until the DVD came out.
And when I watched it for the first time, I went in guns a-blazing thinking, oh, it's going to be like the Castle-esque type thing. No, it's more of a children's movie.
If your children are really messed up, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty messed up watching it as an adult, I would say. But anyway.
So I'll read Wenli Ma's synopsis of The Castle, ranking at number 14. From the pool room to Tell Him He's Dreamin', The Castle was such a cultural phenomenon. The Australian film industry spent years trying to recapture lightning in a bottle by aping Rob Sitch's movie in tone and theme. The story of the Kerrigans fighting against the compulsory acquisition of their home is a classic David versus Goliath battle, repackaged in a tale that taps into the Australian dream of the suburban quarter-acre block and being the master of your own domain. Increasingly a wish fulfillment fantasy in 2024, the castle's fighting spirit lives on in all optimists. And she notes that you can watch the movie on Stan, which is also where you can find Frontline.
That list is interesting. These kind of lists are always, they publish them to cause debate and, get people talking and stuff, right? But it's interesting that all of those top 10 ones are dramas. You know, there's always in these kind of lists a bit of a snobbery towards comedy, which is why The Castle, which really, in my opinion, should be in that top 10 and quite high up in that top 10, is like number 14. It's because it's a comedy, and there's often a prejudice against comedy.
Yeah, I must say that there's more comedies sort of down the bottom of the list. So, yeah, just working out what the comedies are is a bit of a thing in itself. So, yeah, Muriel's Wedding is sort of the highest comedy there at number 9, I'd say.
Yeah, but it's sort of feel good as well.
Did any questions for Ben outrank Wog Boy 2, The Kings of Mykonos?
Neither of those made the top 50. Some other comedies in the list. So we had Priscilla, Queen of the Desert at number 21. Love and Other Catastrophes at number 36. Kenny at 37. Mary and Max at number 40. I think that might be more on the drama side of
yeah, it's
things,
more, I mean, it's got
perhaps.
Barry Humphries in it, but it's more of a drama. Yeah.
What about Guru Wayne?
Meat Pie, where's that?
I'm not sure. Is Snowtown a comedy?
I know.
No? Okay.
The bit where they put kangaroo bits in a bucket definitely isn't.
Scumbus?
Oh, well, that was at number 35, Snowtown, anyway.
No
The
bad
Big
eggs,
Steal
I
at number
assume.
43. No,
Okay.
we didn't have anything else from Working Dog alumni in the top 50, but sort of rounding it out, the Big Steal at number 43, the Sapphires at number 45, and Crocodile Dundee scraped in at number 50.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, pretty drama heavy, I would say. But yeah, you can read it all in the nightly. Just scroll past the countless ads for mining magnates and Harvey Norman.
Honestly, if Boytown was in there,
You'd be surprised?
Yeah, I think. Well, thank you very much for that, Daniel. I really appreciate some movie madness when our regular film critic is not on board in the episode.
Yeah, sorry, Tony. I'm not trying to white ant you, I swear.
I feel like we need a musical intro for Daniel. Oh, sorry, I've just talked over that. We have Oh Jesus, but
Yeah, I think it's time to upgrade the grab bit. So maybe I can turn it into a remix or something like that. Stay tuned in a future episode, okay? So we'll do an upbeat of
Oh, Jesus!
Daniel Genie's program guide intro.
Oh shit, it's me again. Okay. Good for everybody who is sick of me, I know.
Oh, mate,
so-
you bring the...
Rapier.
Been a while.
I was going to say we're front loading this episode with the good stuff. You know, it's not us crapping on. It's all that rock solid good Daniel G stuff
Oh, thanks.
right at the front, and then you don't have to listen to the rest of the episode, right?
Yeah, as soon as they hear the
Oh,
jingle...
I hope you do, make it all the way through. So, let's get on with it. There's a few distractions in the rest of the program guide. For a start, there was a piece about Frontline in the Sydney Morning Herald Guide from Andrew Conway, who mentions that WAGs at the ABC's 7:30 report have pinched a large Frontline logo made for last year's end-of-series rap party at the Gore Hill Bunker and placed it at the entrance to their own office. People visiting the 7:30 report office now step out of the lift on the 3rd floor to find a large banner for the Make-Believe Current Affairs show. I went to see Andrew Ollie and nearly asked for Mike Moore, said one visitor.
Said one visitor that I made up.
Quite possibly. There was also an interview with Kevin J. Wilson, who plays the new EP Sam. I was more interested in the little breakout box titled Murphy's Law, where executive producer Sam Murphy talks about the rest of the Frontline team. So, about host Mike Moore, quote, his great talent is that he can take a subtle hint and make it his own idea. He's a good ideas man, at least we make them his own and clarify them for him. He's also a man of the people. We don't want anyone up there who's a wild card. About reporter Brooke Vandenberg, he says, I've only one thing to say about Brooke. She's got the best legs in current affairs. She can open doors which are closed for the rest of us. A little black book is quite valuable. She has an enormous range of contacts, especially in the pop world. She's a flashier version of Yana Vent. I think she's better, more commercial. About reporter Martin DeStasio, he says, an EP's dream. He's going to get the story even if there isn't one. I don't want to know how he gets it, and I don't care. As long as he comes back with the story, I take his word for it. Then we hear his thoughts about producer Emma Ward. Emma frustrates me a little with her honesty and morals. She'd make a great nun, but she's very hardworking. I hate it when she's out of the office because the whole place falls apart. Everybody loves Emma. If she has a fault, she's too nice for TV. Then, talking about publicist Jan Whelan, we link minds, Jan and I. We don't have to talk. We just sort of look at each other and know exactly what we want. She's a sharp operator, knows how to get the job done. Typical Australian publicity woman. And finally, and most shortly, about funny man Elliot Rhodes, we wanted John Clark, but we couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there we go, quite a bit of insight into our new EP. But I would say the most distracting thing I found in the program guides was the cover story on the Age Green guide. I'll read the intro. After the demise of the degeneration, Tony Martin and Mick Malloy have regenerated as national radio stars, writes Richard Yallop. The headline, and this is really going to make you cringe, M&M Radio Smarties.
Oh dear.
they're mixing their puns
Is that
up.
better or worse than my favourite Martin?
They're both. I mean, if there was a top
worse.
10 of
They're
those, we'd
mixing
be
their
struggling
puns.
to sort of put them in a sensible order. Yeah, that's a
I
good
give that a
reaction.
0. Yeah.
So I'll read a bit of the intro here. The weekend after The Late Show finished on ABC television in October 1993, the degeneration gathered at a house in Tugaruk to discuss their future. Rob Sitch, Tom Gleisner, Santo Chilaro and Jane Kennedy went one way to Frontline, their parody of television current affairs, and Tony Martin and Mick Malloy went on a comedy tour of Australia, which ended up in a drive-time double act in the Melbourne studios of Fox FM. Yeah, the show hasn't been going for too long. It started in about April, but already it's rating quite well around Australia.
Can I just squeeze in to cut off your little program guide a bit, because it's in topic to your program guide, talking about Martin Malloy, and this is also, I guess, part of Backchat too. Now they've fully released it on their website, the National Film and Sound Archive, celebrating 100 years of radio, and there's a nice dedicated page to Martin Malloy where there's a bunch of little clips and pieces from Tony's collection that he donated. So you can check that out. There's always been stuff there.
That big stash of tapes that he kept.
Yeah, so there's always been something available as part of their curation on their site, but because of the 100 radio display, there's a lot more on there. So check it out.
The only other thing I want to highlight from the article is a couple of quotes from Dave Taranto, the Melbourne comedy broadcaster, as he's called here in the article. So this is him talking about Tony Martin. He understands the power of every word and the rhythm of the language, and he'll really labour on something until it's perfect. He has a total understanding of comedy and knows exactly how it works.
Yep. No arguments there.
And then he talks about Mick. Mick is the bloke, the larrikin, who just goes out and does it, while Tony is the wordsmith. Tony could get by with 1/10 of the effort because he's so good, but he has to put in 110%. The common thread is their fascination with popular culture and things like tacky TV ads. The last part of the interview has Tony Martin asking what might have happened to the interview if Martin Malloy had not won its time slot, asking where will it go if we're a ratings flop? The odd spot? So, not much of a punchline, really.
Not at all.
All right, let's get to the program guide proper. So after Frontline, Four Corners and Media Watch on the ABC, we have Absolutely Fabulous. Season 3, Episode 3 originally aired back in April this year, 95, and it's titled Sex. Patsy convinces Adina to hire 2 male prostitutes for an orgy on the night of Saffron's university presentation. As you do. Patsy attempts to enliven the mood by playing a video of an orgy she and Eddie attended in their youth, only to find that it has been accidentally switched with the tape of Safi's school project.
Yeah.
Over on Channel 7, we've got Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. And it's season 2, episode 21, titled Wine, Wine, Wine. And this aired back in May. Superman is forced to get a lawyer when someone he saves sues him for damages incurred during the rescue. Now, I think there might already be a legal precedent here up against Mr. Incredible. There's also a subplot where Bill Church Jr., played by Bruce Campbell, is out of jail again. The other thing is that these episodes are sort of being aired out of order.
Yeah, it
because there
sounds
was
like
there
it.
was a Christmas episode last week.
Was that a very common thing to do in those days, just to randomly play whatever they had got
That's
their
what
hands
Channel
on?
10 did with Simpsons. It was they'll be playing a season, and then suddenly there'll be like 2 episodes missing or whatever, but you don't know it until afterwards. And they did that with, I think, they did a special with Raiders of the Lost Bart, they called it, and they had the what's his name, Jade and Ryan from Cheese TV host it, and it was called The Simpsons Lost Episodes. And it's like you didn't listen, you just chose not to play it. That's all, and because it was, I think it was heavily censored.
I reckon part of it could have also been just trying to work out, like
Australian content.
It might have been to do with ratings and classifications.
Don't back Channel 10.
Now, over on SBS, we actually have a bit of a reprieve from the Defenders of the Wild. Because this week on SBS is a week of themed program called About Television. Funnily enough, About Television. Peter Weininger wrote about it in the Green Guide, saying the 29 programs are not set up to provide answers, but to ask questions, raise the issues that most concern us, and if possible, lift awareness about television so we may become better informed consumers. So I dare say, if you're a fan of Frontline, you probably would have found a program or two on SBS for you. And the one that's up against Frontline is called LA Stringers. So it's an American documentary capturing the working life of a group of cameramen as they film the violent exploits of street gangs, drug dealers, and prostitutes in Los Angeles.
So it's an episode of Cops.
Yeah, pretty much. And really, this sort of job, really, it's been taken down now that everybody's got a camera in their pocket. Like this sort of thing you see on, TikTok and World Star all the time.
You watch a current affair or something, and a lot of it seems to be based on mobile phone footage, so that's definitely true.
Yeah, no stringers allowed. They just have to go trolling on TikTok and Reddit and all that sort of thing. Yeah. Over on Channel 9 at 7:30, we've got Hope and Gloria, the American drama series about a woman who works for an egotistical Pittsburgh talk show host. Now, I haven't been able to find much at all about this show, apart from that I don't think I even mentioned last week what the title was. Last week's debut episode was titled "Are We Having Fun Yet?"
Is the answer no?
Well, I think we've heard that line in Frontline. It's a very difficult thing asking a question in let alone whether it's in the title of a show or on a billboard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if Hope and Gloria is on next episode.
Yeah.
Or whether it just
Should
kind
we
of
put
lasted
money on
2
this?
episodes. Yeah, how long will it last?
Oh, spoiler alert! There are a few more weeks left.
Okay.
So this is season 1, episode 2, and it's titled "No Degrees of Separation," and that's all I know. Then at 8 o'clock, we've got Frasier, season 2, episode 6, titled "The Botched Language of Cranes." When Frasier makes a disparaging remark about Seattle's weather, he offends his listeners. And his attempt to remedy the situation by speaking at a charity dinner only makes things worse. And finally on Channel 10, we've got Healthy, Wealthy and Wise. And the first thing that it's got here on the listing is that it features a look at doll collecting.
Ooh.
Dare I say it, Jane Kennedy would love that segment, I reckon.
She maybe doesn't have the kind of nice dolls that I assume are in this segment. It's all lovely porcelain antique dolls. She would have like creepy plasticky 70s ones.
Or no Basic Instinct doll.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe Tommy G might like the segment as well. If you don't know what I'm talking about there, look up "Have You Been Paying Attention?" Barbie Hughes. Hilarious segment from last year.
Hang on, were they putting Barbie dolls on a barbecue? What were they doing?
No, it was Barbie Hughes, as in questions.
Oh, okay, right.
So it was all about, he was bringing out all these different kinds of Barbies that would do different things and asking the panelists, what do they do?
Alison, it was a play on words. Think
Okay,
about that.
right,
Think
got
about
it.
that. Yeah.
I would like them to do barbecues on that new Barbie that features Queen Camilla, because I'd love to know what she does.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
afraid I
lost
don't
with
know
this
about
one.
that one.
Don't
There,
know.
there
That
is
must be a
you can
UK
look
thing.
this up. There is a Barbie doll that got released recently, and it's a Queen Camilla Barbie doll. And there's a photo of Queen
Oh,
Camilla
wow.
Comes with its
holding the
own
Barbie
stable.
doll that looks like her. And if you've ever wanted a Camilla
Doesn't-
doll, now's your opportunity.
Comes with its own stable, hurdles, some hay.
We assume so. Yeah.
Now also we've got a recipe for beef goulash, a trip to New Zealand, how to give your crockery and tiles a lift, and property values around the country. Again, to quote Wenley Ma, increasingly a wish fulfillment fantasy in 2024.
Yeah, the property
Oh.
values would have been amazing in 1995. You know, they would have actually been affordable for the average person, I suspect.
Yeah. So while we think about that, I've been talking far too much. So let's get on with the actual episode.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate the time and effort that you put into your bits and pieces.
Thanks.
No worries. All right, Kim, it's your go. So get your golden tonsils ready.
I'm glad you're doing it, Kim, because my voice is buggered at the moment.
Have a bit
Kim
of a
will do
rest.
the program guide next week. All right. 4, 3, 2, cue in.
Hello, I'm Kim. This is Frontline Season 2, Episode 4, Office Mole, broadcast Monday, August 14, 1995.
Yay!
Yay!
And the synopsis for this episode, Office Mole, is Mike is bored, but when Frontline suspects that someone is leaking stories to another station, he springs into action. Now, before we go into it, did anyone notice a bit of a refresher from the intro of Frontline of this episode?
Yes. Yeah, this is what I was referring to earlier about your different background today, Matt.
I'm actually broadcasting from my kitchen. So
Yes. Well, Mike Moore, when he in the title sequence where he says, "Hello, I'm Mike Moore. Welcome to Frontline," he's actually on the new set, and we sort of saw the new set briefly in the previous episode. But yeah, he's there on the new set, and it's blue.
yes, it is. It's blue, and you look at his hair; it's a little bit more tighter. It's not as fluffy. Still parting on the same
Yeah.
side, but
Must be all that pert.
so with this, with the Office Mole, everyone is busy in the office doing their own thing. With Mike bored shitless, like really bored shitless. He's just walking around the office. Everyone's doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're kind of ignoring him a bit.
Yeah.
He looks
Yes.
kind of like he feels a bit hapless. He doesn't know what's going on. But yes, bored is probably a more appropriate word.
In his office, though, Mike is reading the 40-hour famine pamphlet. Now, this starts something, doesn't it? So, remember that, the 40-hour famine? Is that still going?
Yeah, I remember not wanting to do it because I wanted to eat.
Here's a little jingle from 1995.
Babies crying, children dying. It's not the way the world should be. Sing your lip and see the child. You can't change it. Sing your lip and sing and smile. You can't change it. Sing your lip and save a child.
Go without food for 40 hours and help save a child. Join the World Vision 40-hour famine now. Call 13 22 40.
Come on, zip your lip.
Zip your lip. Now, as you heard that, out of context, that just sounds so disgusting with the zip.
Yeah, I was like, I thought you were putting fart sounds in the background for a second.
I think it reads slightly differently in 2024. I think people were, I guess, less familiar with some of your more niche kinks maybe in the 90s.
Yeah. Martin Malloy had only been on for a few months at this point.
Yeah, exactly. They hadn't got round to all the niche kinks at that point, and certainly the internet hadn't informed us of it. I remember the 40-hour famine. I remember at school you could do one that was like designed for kids to participate in it, but it only went for like 10 hours or something. But the other thing about 40-hour famine that I remember, which was kind of cheating maybe, is that you were allowed to have water, obviously, but you were also allowed to have a few butter menthols or something
Barley
just to keep
sugars.
your sugar
Yeah.
levels. Barley sugars, yeah.
Now, the thing is, I never participated in a 40-hour famine, but even I can remember it was water and barley sugars was the only thing you could have. I suppose because they didn't want to have any sort of liabilities on their hands.
Well, barley sugars were for the glucose, your blood sugar level.
Yeah.
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 So, no, I remember participating that once. I think you had the 40-hour famine, and then there was, when you're a teenager or whatever, it might have been made up from my school, but there was a 12-hour famine and the 8-hour famine. And
No, it was an official
was
one, the shorter version for kids to do it.
I remember the 8-hour famine because I wanted to do that, and I was told not to. I'm going, but what about the starving children?
Stuff them. Well, I assume that was the reaction of your parents or teachers. Screw them.
I donated my chore money. So even though I couldn't do the 8-hour famine.
Good on you, Matt.
Yeah, I didn't last long though. Like after 4 hours, I was hungry, especially when Dad had ordered chicken and chips for lunch.
That's really unfair.
Oh, it was.
Was he like waving it in front of you, going, "Oh, look at what I've got"?
Yeah, you bought a pineapple fritter, which is my favourite, and it
Oh,
was like,
what?
yeah, it was coated deliciously in the cinnamon sugar, and it was a thick batter one, and it was the smell was so good. I went, I broke it. I couldn't resist the pineapple fritter.
Who can?
Well, in 1995, it was called the 40-hour famine. Nowadays, we just call it intermittent fasting.
Or the cost of living crisis.
Oh, gosh.
Actually, the 40-hour famine is still going. I've just done a quick look up. It happened on the weekend of the 25th to the 27th of August, 2023. So I dare say it'll roll around again this August as well.
I might do that. I need to lose some weight.
Yeah, do we try and set ourselves this challenge?
Yeah, well, no.
Try and hold a podcast recording on 40-hour famine weekend this year, and I mean it's a good thing we're doing this remotely because if we were in the same room, we would probably be, I don't know, scratching each other's eyes out for a barley sugar or something.
Yeah, it'd get a bit Lord of the Flies if we did that. It's a good thing we live in different parts of the world.
As Mike is snacking away after the pamphlet, Dom walks in.
Mike, guess what?
He's called.
Who?
Glen Ridge.
No, ratings 28.
Great. So he hasn't answered any of my calls.
No, don't worry about it, Mike.
So rude of him.
Cool, don't worry about it. The ratings, Emma says this is the 10th night in the row we've beat the others.
Sick of chasing, that's it.
And you're in the paper today.
He's let me down.
Do you want me to cut it out for your book?
What's it about?
You doing the 40-hour famine?
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Mike's distracted by trying to get in contact with Glen Ridge, which is bizarre since he was at the party, Mike's party.
Yeah, I dare say this is where Mike might have tried to bring up the proposal of what Mike wants to do on Sale of the Century.
Yeah, it's the Battle of the Current Affairs show host, isn't it? He mentioned this in the first series.
Yeah.
And I suspect that Glen Ridge is ghosting him about this idea. Either that or Jan's trying to put a spike in it, because I remember the plot in series 1 was that Jan didn't want him to do it because it would reveal that he was a bit sick.
Dom checks in on Shelley to see if anyone knows. Knows what exactly?
Ooh, what does she know?
Yeah. Mike keeps trying to call Glen Ridge via Channel 9 offices with little success.
Glen Ridge, please.
Hold the line. Sale of the Century.
Glen Ridge, please.
Who's speaking?
Mike Moore.
He's not in. Can I leave a message?
He's not in all that often, is he?
Can I leave a message for him?
Yeah, he's got my number. Tell him he can call me anytime. At home, work, anytime. I mean, it's not urgent.
I'll pass that on.
Yeah, sure you will. Assholes.
Thank you for calling.
The perils of speakerphone.
In the kitchen, we have Emma passing on the message of good ratings news to Sam, while Marty is snacking away. He's also meant to be on the 40-hour famine.
Yeah, he's got a packet of twisties on the go.
I just love the fact that he is not participating, but he's supporting it.
That's just like was that you, Matt? But that wasn't my. But
Yeah,
that wasn't
I mean,
choice. You just weren't allowed to.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the rules, but would there have been like a financial penalty if you had to break the rules, or
Oh, no, if you broke the rules, that's it. You just get disqualified.
what? And World Vision doesn't get any money.
Oh, actually, I don't
Haven't
know.
there been people who've accidentally they thought that after 39 hours they'd finished it or something, and I've heard about these people and they only collect the money for 39 hours or whatever. I don't know. It's up to you. No one's like policing this. Collect the money anyway and give it to the starving kiddies.
I reckon that might have been the plot line of. I'm pretty sure there was an episode of Colin Carpenter that was centered around the 40-hour famine.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
So maybe it did. The whole 39 hours only happened in Colin Carpenter.
Everyone else did it perfectly apart from Colin.
Cole, yeah. I do think when I did break it, though, it was we still got the money, but it's like you're going to have a guilt trip afterwards because you're taking money.
Is this 40-hour famine or is this Lent? Like basically, Lent is the 40-hour famine without the fundraising. Although, mind you, it's just about not eating meat on Fridays. But speaking as a very busy Catholic, I've got to say. I've got to say, like Fridays at this time of year just really shit me, and I know I could, I know I could.
Come on, man!
I know I could just eat meat on a Friday and just like say I didn't, but he'd be pretty angry.
Well, how are you supposed to honour? You're supposed to honour Jesus' sacrifice or whatever. I don't know. I'm an atheist. I don't really know what you're doing, but
you know what? Talking about that, I remember because my family is not deeply religious or anything. If anything, my nana or whatever was Church of England. So if we had to relate to some type of religion, it was Church of England. But as I grew older, I'm atheist as well, and it was like Fridays. Well, Good Friday was always great because it helped with Dad. Dad loves cooking, and it's like his excuse to cook fish. And every time he cooked, he turned it into a Ian Hewitson. So just Huey, just do a healthy, wealthy, and wise in the kitchen with the fish. And it wasn't until and that was drilled into my head for years and years. It's like that Good Friday, it's fish only, not realising it was a religious...
Not realising that you weren't beholden to it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just him to cook the fish. And it wasn't until a boys' holiday away and it was on the Good Friday, we're all together, and then it's like, oh, let's have some sausages. So it was just like a smorgasbord barbecue of steaks, sausages, and everything else like that. And I'm going, you can't do that. It's Friday. It's Good Friday. You have to do fish. And they're going, you're kidding me, right? I'm like, oh God. I felt like such an idiot. So it was when I was in
that point you realised that you weren't like everybody else.
Yeah, I think it was like 21, 22. So it was, it was only roughly 20 years ago when I realised, I'm a friggin' dumbass. I'm Mike Moore. That's what I was.
It was your Mike Moore moment.
Yeah, just a complete dimwit. Anyway, you enjoy your fish, Daniel.
Oh, there's only a couple more weeks to go as of this taping, so.
Yeah.
But surely, like fish on a Friday is good because you can go down the chip shop and get fish and chips. That's a good thing.
And pineapple fritter.
And a pineapple fritter. I'd be getting the pineapple fritter.
Hell yeah.
And a potato cake.
Oh, scallop.
Chico roll, is that allowed?
I think there's meat in a Chico roll. I mean, there's also the dumb trap of thinking that just eating a regular pasty is vegetarian. No, there's meat in regular pasties.
Are you sure?
Well, you need to get like the vegetarian pasty.
Yeah, you have to specify that it's
Yeah.
a vegetarian rather than the regular.
But you can eat vegetarian food on the Friday as well as the
Yeah.
fish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm
You
hungry.
could get yourself a nice vegetarian pizza, maybe.
I don't know. Just usually with me, it's the Subway seafood sensation, which I
Which
mean,
is
Solid choice
fillet
there.
so
Well,
much
I mean-
processed meat, processed
yeah, I mean,
seafood.
Yeah,
It's not
there's
classically.
no meat in it there, but there may not be much fish either.
Yeah, so you're technically
Dodgy
eating
crab
vegetarian.
sticks.
Hi, Kim.
Well, Alison's vegetarian too.
Yeah, oh, I know
I also
that.
am vegetarian.
Yeah.
Subway does a kind of veggie patty thing, which is oddly okay. I don't mind it. But so I don't know. Subway here in the UK have started doing like vegan meatballs. So that they've got a vegan meatball sub.
Huh.
I don't know if they've got that in Australia.
No, it hasn't reached our
never
shores yet.
been to one.
Oh, okay.
Still haven't been to a Subway. You can smell that bread that they pump out, that bread smell. That's very
Yeah.
distinctive, isn't it?
Sam claims the ratings win is all about the mix of stories.
Now, last night, the lead story,
The Ebola virus down under.
we scared people. Then we made them feel good.
The kid who looked after his grandmother with Alzheimer's.
Then Mike interviewed the foreign minister. Comedy. You get the point. Good stories, good balance.
Alison?
Now, when he said he interviewed the foreign minister comedy, he meant, of course, Gareth Evans, who is Australia's longest-serving foreign minister. And when he said comedy, I think he might mean something like this.
Your comments were widely reported.
No, they were inappropriately reported. We were at an informal drink session when I made the puppy joke, and I was quite clearly speaking, off
The record.
off my face. I was pissed.
I assume Mike Moore grilled him about the puppy story, even though it was a couple of years old by that point.
I'm sure he would. Imagine that, Mike Moore and that Gareth Evans going head to head. Or just the fact that Mike Moore interviews any of those of the...
The Rob Stitch impressions?
Yeah, that'll be a great mashup.
Maybe you can do a bit of a mashup. You can do some editing.
With the 90s split screen not quite joining up effect.
I'm just wondering if Mike Moore's, I'm sure, very, very thoroughly researched and wide-ranging interview with Gareth Evans ever asked him about his relationship with Cheryl Curnow. I suspect it didn't.
You'll be distracted by the head wobbling, the constant head wobble.
The head wobble,
Yeah.
yes.
So in celebration for the ratings, Sam is going to shout everyone Tim Tams, except for the ones who are on-air fastest. Some of the stories, the lineup, Brooke's chasing a dodgy doctor who hands out methadone just to about anyone and suggests to go in via hidden camera. Marty has a teen who has attacked his parents, as in the teen attacked his own parents, and with a carving knife, who is currently assisting police with their inquiries. It sounds an interesting one. And Brooke also has another story about sexism in the High Court.
Anything else?
Sam, my High Court story's been sitting on the shelf for 3 days now.
Oh, good. What is it again?
Sexism in the High Courts. You know, judges who say it's okay to rape prostitutes' wives.
They said that?
Well, some judge said it, but I think I can get more quotes.
From the late 19th century.
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
When have we got that penthouse pet piece?
Tomorrow.
Okay, we save the High Court story for then, all right? We'll take the Moz off. Nudity and a femo story. The perfect mix.
Oh, Sam, what if someone beats us to
Oh,
it?
relax.
You know, notice though that Sam is completely forgetting a lot of the stories that have been approached to him.
Yeah, there's a slight hint that he wanted to spike the High Court story. Well, that's how I read it anyway.
But not just that, it's like that he intentionally forgets what Brooke or Emma has told him, because it happens again later in the episode.
When he just says, what was that again?
Yeah, and he goes, oh, you didn't tell me that. It's like, I told you last week.
Yeah, just a typical scenario of a male ignoring
Yeah.
a female's suggestion and
Yes.
either ignoring it or passing it off as his own later on.
Yeah, it's that other meaning of EP coming in.
Jan walks in and congratulates everyone for the ratings and praises everyone who is fasting as well, as they snack, really.
And she's got just more amazing hair from Jan, by the way. She's still got the beehive, but it's a kind of curled, a sort of, I don't know, lots and lots of curls all piled up on top of each other, which is astounding. But I forgot to mention earlier that Dom is getting into the hair comedy as well. She sports several comedy hairstyles in this episode, which I remember greatly amused me and my parents when we used to watch this back in the 90s. We used to laugh at Dom's hair, and Jan's hair as well.
Yeah, I do remember seeing Dom in this episode wearing pigtails.
Yeah, she's just got a whole bunch of pigtails sticking out the top of her head, which is it's an interesting look for her.
Yeah, so even in the 90s, this was considered weird. It wasn't just, us
yeah.
looking back thinking, God, that was what people were like in the 90s. That was weird for us back then.
Yeah. We laughed at it, certainly, watching at home.
Mike has a meeting with Jan, and he's struggling to get in contact again with Glen Ridge.
Celebrity Sale of the Century. My Battle of the Current Affairs hosts idea.
Yes, I'm having a lot of trouble getting through.
Oh, so am I. Glenn hasn't returned my calls. I've got a feeling they're not passing on my message. I know. You've got Glen Ridge's personal fax number.
Oh, I may have misplaced it.
You don't want me to do this either, do you, Jan?
Look, I think it's a wonderful idea. It's just the logistics.
I solved the logistics. It's out of your hands now, Jan. I know you've got the number, and I want you to write it down.
You like for that meeting with Sam? Sorry.
Coming, dear.
This is going to make them sit up and take notice. I'm going to fax it to them right now. Thank you.
Do you know how to use a fax machine, Mike?
I think I can manage, Emma.
But speaking of fax machines, like Jan just, automatically wrote that number down, so she must know Glen Ridge's personal fax number just out of the blue.
Her black book must be incredible, though.
Yeah.
Second only to Brooks.
Wouldn't it be her teletext?
Or might be a filofax, maybe?
Filofax, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jan would absolutely. She'd have one of those big filofaxes with like an A4 pad of paper in it.
Did I make up that word teletext?
You mean the
You're thinking of
little thing with
teletext,
the...
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, teletext.
The teletext was that little, the address book where you had the ABC and you kind of slide up and down.
That's what I was
press
thinking
the
of,
button
yeah.
and that pops up.
I thought you meant telex machines, which are like the forerunner of the fax machine.
Oh,
but
okay,
anyway,
we've got a bit of everything.
knows?
We have a mix.
Everything's involved there. A lot of 80s, 90s technology all mashed up into one.
How about that? That's why, if you ever want to flash back to the 90s, listen to the Champagne Comedy Podcast.
Yeah, when was the last fax you ever sent? Anyone remember?
Early noughties, I would say.
2002, 2003.
Yeah,
Yep.
early noughts. Yeah.
Yeah, would have been might have been sometime in the 2010s for me, because I was working for my father, who is a psychologist, and a lot of the communication with other medical centres and other psychologists and sort of anything medical, they still rely on faxes. I don't know if they do in present day 2024, but certainly it was still a thing in the 2010s.
Oh yeah, they still some of my mum's doctors still use faxes to send things to each other, but some of the faxes are done via the computer now, so you don't need an actual fax machine to do it. But yeah, I think the last time I sent one was probably 2015, 2016, where I had to send some shipping notifications off for sending something to New Zealand. But yeah, it was still the same process. You put it in, you had to make sure it had the little OK confirmation, just confirming that it had actually got to its destination. So maybe Mike wasn't aware, particularly, as we find out later, where his faxes are actually being sent to.
Either that, or he might have put the paper in the wrong way around and basically sent a blank page.
No, he did that as well. I think he did do that, didn't he?
So now Emma finds a loose piece of paper from Shelley, which she snatches. Interesting. The plot thickens. That Shelley doesn't not get enough airtime, does she?
No, she and Jace really very rarely on screen doing anything of note.
So Sam is concerned Mike's distracted, but Jan tells him that it's because he's keen on the Sale of the Century Battle of the Current Affairs host idea.
The current affairs host.
He won't give up on it.
You see the problem here, he's bored. Where is he now?
Faxing Glen Ridge with the idea.
Jesus.
Em, it's urgent. Sorry. Hello?
Yes, Mike.
No, the document goes face down, then you dial in the number, then you press fax.
Marty's story on the murderous teen has hit a bit of a snag. He's been refused bail, that is the teen, and there's only 3 seconds of footage available. After Sam wants an interview with his parents, the ones who were murdered, how awkward.
Bow.
Yeah. I like Emma's reaction. It's like, Sam? And Emma tries a different angle by trying to locate the video store that he rents videos from to see what type of violent movies he has rented.
It's interesting this because when I saw this bit, I was reminded of the Martin Bryant and the Port Arthur Massacre, which happens about a year later after this episode. And I remember they went down the video store and checked out what he'd rented, and it wasn't especially, ridiculous from memory. But clearly this idea of checking out what people rent at the video shop predates Martin Bryant because this is 95. So there must have been other ones before that.
When you do rent Police Academy 7 Mission to Moscow, it will send you...
that. Yeah. Does that instantly make you a psychopath or something?
Yeah, well, I do have the box set.
Well, I've watched that. I've watched that film, and you clearly have.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't murdered anyone.
No, not yet. But it is an interesting film, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a movie that had come out and before this episode of Frontline, because Mission to Moscow was 1994. Milo and Otis? No? All right. I'm clutching.
Why would you go mad after Milo and Otis, apart from maybe I can't handle these cute animals anymore?
Well, once you know the story behind Milo and Otis.
Yeah, maybe the thought of, there may have been multiple animals throughout the filming, allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been proven, but that's always the trope that seems to be brought up whenever I think of Milo and Otis.
And we're back to Snowtown.
Yay! There we go.
Cutting up the animals and sticking them in the bucket. Anyway.
Sam is brainstorming ideas to give something for Mike to do because he's just struggling.
Now, it's got to be something that sounds important but means nothing.
There's that London weekend television thing.
Yeah? Tell me more.
I told you about it last week.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Standard reciprocal deal, straight swap. We give them our crap, they give us their crap, the tacky royal stories, and we give them, say, a wacky outback piece.
Hey, getting warmer. Much work?
No, we send them rundowns of the show each morning, and they pick it off the satellite if it sounds interesting. Takes me about 5 minutes.
It'll take Mike about an hour. He even knows how to use the fax now. Okay, right. Tell Mike he's our international story coordinator.
Oh, Sam, he's not going to buy that one.
International Story Coordinator.
Wow.
Yeah, big job. Starts tomorrow.
All I thought of too with the London weekend television, all I thought was, this is, I guess, my Monty Python behind me, the Rutland weekend television.
Yeah, well, that's what Rutland Weekend Television was. It was a parody of London Weekend Television, or LWT. But yeah, LWT, just to give you a small amount of background, did an awful lot of comedy shows, sitcoms and sketch comedy and stuff like the Dame Edna Experience, big kind of variety shows like that. So yeah, certainly watching a lot of British TV on Australian television in the 80s and 90s, you would see the LWT logo turn up at the end of all sorts of shows. So they're very well known.
I find it sort of kind of funny that LWT is chosen because the way the ITV system used to work, it's sort of individual companies would run the independent television service in different areas. And in most places in England, they would run it 7 days a week. But in London, it would be 2 different companies running the one channel, one on the weekdays and one on the weekends. So technically, Mike is in charge of 2 days worth of television per week, basically.
Yeah.
It's the most lowest effort of anything.
Yes, and I should have checked this point, but I don't know what news or current affairs shows LWT actually broadcast in that era. But yeah, LWT would start, I think, Friday evening, and then they would go through to Sunday. And then whatever the other one who had the rest of it was, I think over the years it was Thames for a bit, and then it was Carlton and running the London franchise, and they would pick up again Monday morning and go through till sort of Friday afternoon. So, I mean, obviously, in the weekdays they would have their.
The other kind of weird thing about ITV is that there was another company which would be in charge of doing the broadcasts during the breakfast TV time. So I think it was about six.
Oh, that's ITN.
No, that's that was either TVAM or GMTV. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos talking about the old ITV companies. Like they've sort of all amalgamated and swallowed up each other so that I think it's all the one company now, apart from like Scotland, I think. But back in 1995, there would be another company who was just in charge of 3 hours in the morning on weekdays, and it was their job to fill the schedule nationally.
Yeah, you're right about that. And actually, just thinking about it further, the news output on ITV came from ITN, which is a separate company.
Yeah.
And ITN actually has the contract not only to do the news that appears on ITV, but they also have the contract for Channel 4 News. And for a while, they had the contract to do Channel 5 News. I think Channel 5 News is now done by Sky or something. It's all terribly complex, but it does make me wonder why LWT would want current affairs output. Surely it would have been ITN who would want current affairs output. And I assume they picked LWT because people have heard of that.
Yeah.
Whereas in Australia, whereas ITN was a bit more obscure.
But yeah, it's such a weird concept. For 1995, sort of having it's like it's like having one channel where, say, Channel 7 was in charge of the output on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and like it might have been Channel 9 for the rest of the week.
So was there non-stop marathons of Dad's Army and Birds of a Feather on this channel?
They're BBC, darling. They're BBC.
Oh. See, that just shows you how much I know about that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so everything that I know that's UK comedy is BBC then. Sorry.
Although I'll make the point that Birds of a Feather was actually produced by an external production company for the BBC.
Oh.
Because in the 80s, the BBC started to sort of offer contracts to external companies to make programs for them, whereas up until the early 80s, the BBC had made everything in-house that they broadcast. So it's all about bringing competition into the market, and
I think some of that would have been introduced by the introduction of Channel 4 as well, because they from the outset were buying in programs from external production companies.
Channel 4 has never made its own stuff, but why it happened at the BBC was John Burt came in as Director General in the early 80s, and he was famous for axing Doctor Who and various other things. But the other famous thing he did was bring in this idea of competition. And so you would not only have separate sort of production companies providing programs for the BBC, but also really mad stuff like they would outsource the hairdressers, to a separate company, or that outsource the makeup people or the costumes or whatever. And it all became a bit mad and actually way more expensive to make television, because you've suddenly got all these little companies who have to make their profit on top, whereas you can, by insourcing everything, you can save a lot of money. So it's kind of capitalism gone a bit crazy, the history of production in British television. But that's just my leftist spin, of course.
It's nearly 8 o'clock and you're listening to BBC. No, wait. The London Weekend
BBC
Television.
1, 2? Which one are we on, mate? Come on.
We're on the Champagne Comedy Podcast.
Yes.
I know. Where a couple of people just happen to know how British TV works.
Wow.
Well, it was very educational for me.
The consternation of the other two.
So,
no, I found it interesting. I mean, I had no idea about all this stuff, and I lived there for 10 years as well. But this was after all.
Well, what
that,
about on the buses and Doctor in the House, Father, Dear Father?
On the buses was ITV.
Okay.
I don't know whether it was Thames or LWT or someone else who made that. I'm not a fan of it.
What about
But
Police,
LWT did a lot of stuff. Like they did the Doctor in the House series and loads of stuff.
You
so.
should see what Vivision are currently releasing, or Mad Men in Australia. They're releasing. They've gone through all the Australian archives of channel, like all the 80s and 90s dramas and stuff. Now they've run out, so now they're doing all of the British comedies. So there's ones that I've never even heard of. Like one season shows with Penelope Keith, or what's his name from Yes, Prime Minister. Who's the guy?
Which one? Paul Eddington?
Paul Eddington, yeah. And there's just like some really obscure ones. Hold on, I'll quickly bring it up.
Have you got it right there, or do you have to go into the next room?
It's kind of interesting, the whole DVD distribution thing, because I noticed all the BBC stuff is now transferred. Initially it was all put out by Roadshow, and then I think it moved to... I think it was Universal, Sony were distributing all the BBC stuff, and now it's transferred again to Mad Men now.
Doing a reissue of Bless This House, the complete series.
Huh.
I think that might have been LWT or Thames. No, actually, I think that was Thames.
Dad's Army, the complete collection.
Well, that's BBC.
Yep.
That was made in-house at the BBC, Dad's Army.
They'll look good against
I don't know much about Dad's Army, but I don't think they've got everything of Dad's Army, do they? Unless...
Yeah, there were... Well,
the
first couple series
wasn't
were
there
black and
recently
white.
like an animated... a bit like some of the lost episodes of Doctor Who, they've got audio recordings of it, and they've done like an animated visuals to the audio recording. Didn't that happen recently?
They did it last year. And I have seen it. But yeah, basically it's like Doctor Who. There's a bunch of episodes that got wiped, and some of the original episodes were made in black and white. So they've got some of the black and white ones, but they don't show them often because they're black and white.
Here we go. Open all hours.
I think that's BBC.
Open All Hours is BBC, yeah.
All Cock and Gander.
No idea what that one is.
What? No, I don't know what that one is.
Oh, that's not a comedy thing. These are dramas now. A Fine Romance, complete series.
I think that was BBC. Fine Romance.
Oh, here we go. Let There Be Love. That's the one.
Never heard of that one.
Let There Be
I've
Love,
never heard of that
the
one
complete
either.
series. Timothy Love is a confirmed bachelor and has everything he needs at his fingertips. He is a successful businessman, has money in the bank, and a choice of girlfriends whenever he needs company. So why, when he meets Judy, should he be hearing the sound of wedding bells? Judy has 3 children and a dog, but there's something about her that Timothy believes he can forsake his individuality for. It's a 2-disc set.
And he has to
Paul
have the
Eddington,
surname Love, or else they won't be able to make the title work.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, God.
I can't... Okay, just based on the description, I can't believe they got a second series.
No, it didn't. It was... Well, I believe it just says the complete series, or did you just look it up?
Oh, so it's just one series, so 3 episodes per disc? Or is it... I'm assuming it's a 6 episode series, is it?
Hold on.
Or is it 8?
2 discs. The British sitcom. Oh, yeah, 2 seasons. There we go, 1982. Oh, it's like the Faulty Towers thing. It's only 12 episodes.
It was so good they only made 12.
Yeah. Thames Television.
Or
as
so
well,
bad. Yeah. Oh, it's Thames.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Thames has got that really lovely sort of little title sort of logo thing.
And
then straight into the bill.
Scene as well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, exactly. The bill. Yeah,
there we
that
go.
was Thames, wasn't it?
Yep. All right. Sorry, we've got to get back on track.
We've strayed horribly away from what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah, we'll just spin this off into a bonus mini episode. How about that?
Yeah, where we very badly explain British television to everyone.
Distribution system and production.
I could have got an
system.
expert on to talk about this. I have friends who really can nerd out on this topic who live here
So that's
in
how you
London.
learnt about it, because you spent all these days in the pub listening to them talking
Listening
about
to them
it.
crap on about ITV regions. Yeah.
I got to
some
say,
of it-
if you want to really nerd out, there is a series on YouTube called ITV in the Face, which talks about all of the different regions and how they all started and how they changed from one company to another company and all the rest of it.
Imagine Mitch McTaggart doing a inside thing, like just a
But
breakdown.
even nerdier.
Oh man,
His head would
I'd
explode.
love him to let loose on British television.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much that he's uncovered about Australian television.
And isn't he
that
just
I hope
scratching
he
the
keeps
surface
going
too?
forever. I know. I hope he keeps going forever. It's such a great series.
Mike is talking to Jeff about his new role now, as well as his idea that he doesn't want to talk about, only unless Jeff wants Mike to talk about it.
Lovely
That makes-
little prodding there, yeah.
Yeah, only if you want to talk about it, though. So Brooke is prepping the patient, played by Libby Tanner, future All Saints star Libby Tanner.
Oh.
And also, I think she was in a country practice at one stage. Anyway, so she will have the hidden camera idea to bait the doctor. Now, back to Jeff's office, and Mike is expressing his bitterness over Glenn's non-response.
A thimbleful of fame, Jeffrey Salter, and then it goes straight to the head. Bang!
Yeah. Well, I know exactly what you mean, Mike.
Oh.
I mean, I see them every night. Every night. 2-bit weathermen. Weathermen, mind you, not meteorologists. Guys like Monty from Good Morning
That's
Australia.
right, you're friends with Monty.
Oh, we talk. Well, not as much as we used to, not since he went national, thinks he's the cat's pyjamas.
Anyway, back to what I was talking about.
Oh.
What was I talking about?
The London job.
No, it was after that.
Monty?
No, before Monty.
You being on the 40-hour famine?
No, before that. Oh, Glen Ridge.
I just like they just wrapped up everything in the episode in that one bit. The 40-hour famine, Glen Ridge.
Monty is to Jeff what Brooke is to Mike, I guess. They're kind of a slight competition.
Yeah, they always bounce off each other really well as well. So, like, the stiff competition with that. You remember, was it Monty I think it was at Australia Zoo at one stage, and when there was a Steve Irwin thing, and the crocodile came at him, and he freaked out, and he had to jump up on the fence.
Oh, gosh.
Like, Steve Irwin was going, it's okay.
Is that the one doing the rounds? Is that a meme?
No, it'll be part of a compilation or whatever. 50 years of TV or whatever.
Gosh, it's too far back in the long list of weather persons on morning TV.
And this is when I think Liz Hayes was doing the Today Show as well. That's how long ago. Okay, fine. All right, we'll move on then.
I got nothing, Matt. I got nothing.
Okay,
Yeah,
how about it?
I never watched breakfast television.
It was replayed on British TV. No? Yeah.
Nah.
All right.
It would have to be like on a compilation DVD with like some obscure sitcom
I think it
released
is.
by LWT in the 80s.
I think it's
for
on
me
the
to
50
know
Years of
about it.
TV compilation.
I do have that somewhere. I can't immediately locate it, but
Yeah.
oh, hang on. No, I'm struggling here.
The one that
I
they-
do have.
Everyone's losing their touch.
Yeah.
I do have
everyone's lost
Frasier
their
series
touch.
2, which was referenced.
Hold on
earlier,
one
though,
sec.
so-
Yeah.
Oh, that's
no.
like a
He's
good
off.
hour before. Oh no.
I'm gonna keep trying to find my 50 years of TV. It's got to be somewhere.
There, that.
I don't think I have that.
Well, and this was eventually split up into the decades on 5 different DVDs, distributed on the Herald Sun, and then also Umbrella broke it up into separate bits as well. Anyway, 50 Years of TV, the Channel 9 thing.
I'm afraid I only have Golden TV Week Logie moments, which I can see on the shelf.
I've got that, but I'm not going to go back over. That took a lot out of me.
Don't worry about it.
I'm cramped in the corner right now.
No,
We should keep
save
going,
that for
I
closer
think.
to the ceremony in August.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes.
Cool. Brooke's doctor story goes to air with the hidden camera footage with Mike not getting the play on words with Dr. Yes.
Clearly not a James Bond fan. Disappointing.
Next day, Emma is watching the footage on the living standards of Aborigines with Colin Conacher in the background. Hooray!
Hey, Conacher.
That's going to get a workout. Sam wants positive stories out of the whole story and managing to segue a fluff piece about Kathy Freeman into it as well. Very clever, even though she's got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I think the quote was turning a national disgrace into a feel-good piece.
As the current affair promo goes to air about the sexism in the High Court, undercutting Frontline, Brooke wants to drop the story, but Sam wants to go head-to-head with the current affair over it. And to help promote, Brooke ends up going on 3-0 to promote the story.
Well, Frontline did very well last night, Brooke.
Yes, it was a good win, Peter. Yes, we were very confident with the story.
Sexism in the High Court. Obviously, it's a big problem because I noticed both you and Current Affair ran with the story. And a narrow ratings win for Frontline, I see. Congratulations.
Thanks, Peter.
Oh, just one final thing. Mike Moore, he's not well?
A touch of the flu.
That is the last time I cover your ass, Mike.
Anyway, Brooke, I was on a 40-hour famine. My sugar levels were low. And anyway, Dom forgot to put it in my book.
With Peter Couchman on 3LO.
Yes.
Yeah, sort of bringing the radio segments in-house. Because in season 1 it was Neil Mitchell at 3AW. And yeah, suddenly, for some reason, it's the ABC station, which, again, it's kind of a weird thing considering it's a, well, supposedly commercial station putting one of their stars on the ABC.
Yeah.
Per ABC protocol, they wouldn't be able to plug the show, really.
Daniel, what's the catchphrase?
I know. Who says you can't advertise on the ABC? Even on radio? Yeah, right.
I'm going to isolate that, and now that's going to be a new fresh grab.
Yay! I've said it too often.
Yeah, I was going to do it for this
you should
episode.
Put a rap beat under it or something. Make it really zing.
I've got an idea, but if I say it now, it's going to spoil it. So tune in for the next episode. So Marty has the video rental list of the teenage killer, and the movies being Turner and Hooch. The sad part with Hooch in that movie will snap anyone into a murderous spree. You've seen Turner and Hooch, haven't you? Oh,
Right,
none
no.
of you.
No.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Is it one of those ones where you have to go look up where the dog dies
Yeah.
or not?
The dog dies in it.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Nah, screw you guys.
Oh,
You've had
Well,
30
you're going
odd
to watch it
drinks.
anyway. I think so.
It goes a bit Charlotte's Web, does it? That's an animal reference. I understand Charlotte's Web. that ends with an animal dying.
Tom Hanks plays a police officer, like detective or whatever, Turner, and Hooch is his sidekick, the dog that he is paired up with, and then they go through all the. It's meant to be family based, but it's quite dark, to be honest. And then Hooch sacrifices his life by being shot.
Wow.
God.
Yeah. Anyway, it's quite depressing, but hey, they spun it off into a TV series on Disney Plus.
Does the dog get shot every Probably not. Probably doesn't get shot every episode.
No, that would be Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
There was also Betsy's Wedding, not Muriel's Wedding.
So rom-com, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Home Alone 2, which is a thriller. Naked Gun, which is a children's movie. Hudson Hawk, which is a musical. It is actually a musical.
Load of old crap.
Yeah, only one or two scenes, though.
Yeah. Reality Bites, which is a hardcore porno.
No, it isn't.
Oh, thank you. You caught on to what I was trying to get at. And Terminator 2, which
Is an action film.
Sam wants to connect Terminator 2 movie with the psychotic mind of the murderer. Meanwhile, Sam and Brooke are called up to the general manager, Bob Cavill's office, to talk about the hidden camera footage, and they are in the shit. The doctor wants a personal apology, and a personal apology he will get.
You came in here, abused my trust, wasted my time, and then held me up to public contempt without once checking your facts.
And on behalf of Frontline, I'd like to apologise for the story.
Bloody Emma, this scapegoat.
Yeah, that's the second reference where she's had to kind of make a apology. I think it was at Martin was trampled on someone's flower beds earlier on the episode.
You're going to chase it up? Yeah. Now, with that, Marty reads out the fluff piece in the paper about Mike's new role and grueling scheduler, and guess who's in the background?
Again.
Yeah.
Double-sided.
Yeah, you get quite a few references, quite a few sightings of Colin Conacher. I noticed he doesn't just specialise in Conachers. There was a Canon photocopier there, so he's,
oh, hello.
He's quite across all brands.
Maybe his name's Canon Conacher.
Well, he's wearing a Conacher shirt.
He's wearing a shirt that says Conacher on it.
Yeah, his shirt says Conacher.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not realise that. Emma has the promo ready for the teen killer.
How's this for a promo? What sort of movies would make a man want to kill? Video violence taking over the home.
Sounds good.
That's tonight on A Current Affair.
Is this a joke?
I'm not finished. They're also covering the UN report and an exclusive interview with Kathy Freeman.
What?
Yeah, what indeed.
So, yeah, suddenly, Sam's calling a meeting and going, who's the mole?
But he's ready to take on ACA head-to-head regardless.
It's good, but I didn't think Terminator 2 was as good as the first. I liked him better as the baddie.
Martin DeStasio with that disturbing report on videos that could turn your child into a killer. Coming up after the break, our Aboriginal anguish. Yvonne Cawley speaks to us about the UN report and her life at the top.
Straight into an extra spin on that. So same stories, different people. The next day, Sam gets a call from Bob, who's angry that he used Terminator 2 footage in his story. And Marty says, who cares, because Frontline won by 3 points. But then they find out that Terminator 2 was the Sunday night movie.
Wow. What was that, 4 years after it came out? Premiere.
Yeah.
That's about right for Australian television.
Yeah,
You
that
have
was-
to wait years.
I'm going to say
I'd
that
say
was
so.
it, yeah. Now, Mike is having... are you looking up anything in the program guide, Daniel?
I just thought I didn't actually look this up, but let me find the listing for the previous night and let's see what the movies are. SBS were kicking off their About Television week. They had TV World, the broadcast tapes of Dr. Peter, Canadian documentary chronicling the journey of Dr. Peter Jepson Young, who became one of Canada's foremost educators in the world of AIDS. And that's followed at 9:30 by reality show, a 1994 Canadian comedy, as far as I can tell, fictional. A man with a passion for watching the box becomes an instant star when he wins a competition on a television program. See, ABC, oh, okay. They had at 8:30 the Australia Remembers Gala Tribute, because remember, this was the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II was this year. So it's a concert commemorating VP Day, performed before the Governor-General, the Prime Minister, guests and veterans, live from Melbourne. Entertainers include John Farnham, James Morrison, James Blundell, Margaret Ehrlich, Don Burrows, Grace Knight and Rick Price. The Channel 7 movie was Interceptor, 1992 action-adventure starring Jürgen Prochnow, Elizabeth Moorhead and Andrew Divoff. An arms trader plots to hijack a fighter plane from a transport jet in mid-flight. When the terrorists board the transport aircraft, they encounter resistance from the crew. Directed by Michael Cohen, rated M, contains violence. I should damn well hope so with all that action. Let's see, Channel 9 had something probably not as serious as the ABC's effort, but the same sort of thing. 50 Fantastic Years Part 2, documentary which looks at how Australia has changed since the end of World War II, presented by Brian Naylor, Paul Clitheroe, Don Burke, Molly Meldrum, Tracy Curo, Denise Drysdale and Rebecca Gilling.
What a lineup.
Channel 10, again, it's all kind of serious, non-comedic kind of fare tonight. They had The Face on the Milk Carton, drama starring Sharon Lawrence, Edward Herman, and Richard Masur. When a woman sees a picture on a milk carton of a girl who went missing 13 years earlier, she finds the image as a striking resemblance to herself. She searches through her family's belongings and finds a chest in the attic filled with articles that belong to an unfamiliar girl. She confronts her parents demanding the truth, but the only person who can satisfy her curiosity is unreachable.
So no Terminator 2.
Yeah, not like, no. Well, I would say that Interceptor might be the closest thing to Terminator 2, but probably not as entertaining.
Kim has actually sent me the image.
I sent you a screenshot of the. Well, I'm sure there might be
There we
a
go.
clearer picture.
You going to stick it in the chat? Oh, you're going to screen share.
Canon there.
Oh, yeah. That is such an amazing spot. Well done.
Yeah, nice find.
Adhere to just one brand. He can
fix them all.
lots of different brands. Yeah.
So Mike's been doing some thinking and believes that the office mole might be Shelley, as she's been acting very strange lately and learning shorthand. Isn't that a form that's kind of a unique, a delicacy now, isn't it? Shorthand.
Yeah, I remember when I finished studying journalism. I was actually at uni when this came out, but shorthand was an optional thing, and I only really tried to attempt it during a correspondence course in 1998, and I think I got through about one lesson and just got a little bit bored of it, and I still have the book of it somewhere. But yeah, where I work, there's someone who knows shorthand, and he's in his 60s now. But I think it kind of died out with my generation and probably all the ones after. But with recording and transcripts and the ability to just do that automatically, it's not really
dictaphones and
used.
micro cassettes
AI.
and
AI
It
can
is,
transcribe. Yeah.
Yeah, the one area that it's still used in is court reporting, but apart from that, I don't think it's used much.
Now, upon checking out Shelley's desk, he finds he's gone straight for the desk, like straight away intrusive, invading privacy. He finds a notepad with the shorthand on it, and Dom reveals Shelley's applying for a sales role at Channel 9 and thought that she had to learn shorthand about it.
I thought you knew about it.
Howard, she's learning shorthand just so she can go for a new job.
Yeah, please don't tell Sam because she'll get into real trouble and so will Kerry.
Who's Kerry?
Kerry, it's Marty's girlfriend. She's the one who told Shelley about the job.
Wait a second. Marty's girlfriend works at Channel 9. I'm picking up a new scent.
He really thinks he's Sherlock Holmes.
He's taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, as well, Colin Conacher in the background of that too. Now, Mike probes Marty about his girlfriend Kerry, and he discovers that they actually broke up a few weeks ago. He also probes Stu and Jace with no luck, as well as Brooke.
Hang on. Let me read between the lines. You think that I'm passing on our stories to Channel 9 in return for a job?
You're saying it.
Mike, the only person who blabs on about our stories is you.
Oh, me. Sure. I'm the mole. And who do I go and blab to?
And then it's like light bulb moment, ding, and he goes and accuses Jeff of being the mole. Poor Jeff, innocent.
Poor Jeff.
But he claims his innocence. And then you cue a montage with Elvis Costello's watching the detectives play.
It's a good montage, isn't it? I think the best bit, obviously, is when they get to the editor, Hugh, in his edit suite, and he very visibly tells him to fuck off. We also get Elliot, who's wearing a winged Viking hat. No one really knows why. I don't know what song he would be singing as a Viking, but, you know.
Oh, come on, in the Vikings.
Viking talk.
Oh,
in
yeah.
The Vikings.
Take a jumper
Is that the
or
same
you
hat?
freeze.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Is that the same Viking hat from Viking Talk? You know,
It
costume
probably is.
department? Probably, because Bighorns are still in.
Mike also accuses Core the cleaner, who says it's not him. And finally, Colin Conacher, who we see an amazing shot of Colin Conacher where he's wearing a shirt that has Conacher written on it, just in case we forget his name.
Yep.
And all of those people deny that they are the mole.
Now, the next day, the ratings are in, and Channel 9 have beaten them finally. And Emma is annoyed that the London Weekend Television people are complaining that they haven't received anything from Frontline's international story coordinator.
Yeah, I know. This is all set up for the big punchline.
Mike?
Yeah?
This Sherlock Holmes stuff has got to stop. Okay. I want your mind back on the job, okay?
Okay.
Right. Now, Em's just been given a serve from England.
Why?
They haven't even received one show rundown yet.
But I've been faxing them every day. I just finished doing this morning's.
That's not their number.
You gave it to me.
It's not my handwriting.
It's Jan's.
Jan's? But what number would I have got off Jan?
Ray, Glen Ridge.
Yes. You got Glenn Garried.
lovely cameo from Glen Ridge here. Because, obviously very good friends with the Working Dog people, considering he's featured on The Late Show directly and indirectly.
And you know what? That concludes Frontline Season 2, Episode 4, and the Champagne Comedy Podcast, Episode 57. We made it. Yay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Plenty
a
of
nice kind of, I'd say it's a bit more lighthearted this week than it was last week. And, next episode we go back into the serious topics again. Fortunately or unfortunately, you can decide next episode.
So we've got a bit of light relief this episode and back to the serious stuff next time.
I wonder how much it cost them for the music rights for Elvis Costello.
Yeah, I do wonder how they have to how they have to seek permission from the artists, because some artists are very choosy about where their music is featured, and others less so.
And that could have been possibly why there was a delay for those episodes, or season 2 and 3, to come out on DVD, because Frontline season 1 had come out on DVD.
Yeah,
and you can tell by the old M-rated logo.
Yeah, it was before we had the little color-coded rectangle in the corner.
Yeah, because they came in 2003, 4, and from there, Frontline took a while to come out, season 2 and 3, on DVD. Yeah. Anyway, just a thought.
Good point there.
Just a thought.
Because like you don't sort of think about it too much, but yeah, there is a lot of commercial music that is used throughout Frontline. I mean, we didn't mention it last episode, but there was a very well-known, "Dreams Can Come True" song that was used incidentally as well. You can ponder it all the way to the next episode.
Yeah, and then you can come back with your research
Yeah.
and spend 20 minutes talking about the distribution rights and publishing rights and
Yeah, about music rights in television in the 90s.
Yeah, that's right.
So if any of you out there have anything to contribute, how do they get in touch with us, Matt?
Well, they can reach out to us, champagnelateshow@gmail.com. And they can also check out this episode's show notes for all our socials, right? There's so many of them. And by the way, after mentioning TikTok, the TikTok account, we got one extra follower with that. So
yeah,
yay!
Yeah, so thanks very much for that. Also, you can reach out to us on Facebook, search Champagne Comedy Podcast Group, as well as throwing us $1 or buy a packet of M&Ms or Tim Tams to buymeacoffee.com/TLS Champagne Pod. I just want to say as well, thank you so much for listening and being part of this podcast. And thank you, Alison, Daniel, and Kim, for coming back on. And we'll catch you next episode. My name is Matt. See you next time. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to the Champagne Comedy Podcast, created by fans for the fans. For more information on this podcast, please visit champagnecomedy.com. Produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au.
Assholes.
Thank you for calling.